there's a weird square in the middle of my screen and I don't, anyway. So I got bangs. So I got them last week after probably like 3 months of going back and forth. And I put a picture up on Instagram and everybody on Instagram loved them, which was very sweet, made me feel so much better, even though I love them and that's kind of all that matters. But hopefully you guys like them as well. If you don't tell me. So today's going to be kind of an old school YWP video. We are going to do a little try on swatch, just like talk about this new Urban Decay Naked Honey palette. So there's the packaging. It's plastic, which is kind of throwing me off because whenever Urban Decay comes out with a palette, it's always very like heavy and it feels like really high quality. This one feels a little, just maybe like a step down from what I'm used to with their palettes. Well, their naked palettes anyway. But this is what she looks like. It's very, very pretty. I know a lot of people are gonna say it's very, very basic. Like I've seen that before. I've seen it before, but if the quality is really good, I'm totally here for this because like I really, really love all the mattes in here. They're just like my perfect kind of mattes. I love a good metallic lid shade, so I feel like this pretty much has everything I would need other than a black and like a kind of like a little bit of a shimmery brow bone shade. I feel like this hopefully is going to be a good palette. I haven't touched it, so I have no idea. We're going to do it together. I can't decide if I want to do the eye look first or if I want to do the swatches first. I feel like maybe we should swatch it first. That way we'll kind of get a feel for the eyeshadows. And then we're going to do a little eye look with this. Is it going to be worth the money? Should you spend your money on this palette, which is, you know, I feel like we've all probably seen this palette before. You know what I mean. It's a very neutral palette, but that can be a good thing. Like if the quality's really good, you have your like all-in-one if you're a big fan of Urban Decay eyeshadows. So even though we may have seen this before, that's not going to deter me from recommending it. So okay, let's do some swatches, then we'll chat more. So I've been trying to figure out the best way to do these swatches. So I'm just gonna do them this way. I already swatched them once. Sorry, I just took my watch off. And you couldn't see them that well, so hopefully you'll be able to really see them this way. Initially, I swatched them before I filmed the eye looks, and it was fine. You got to hear like my first impression of them, but I'm refilming the swatches because I've filmed both the eye looks, and I feel like I have such a better understanding of the eyeshadows, and I can give you guys so much more info on them. So yeah, that's just the way that I want to do it because I feel like I know the shadows so much better now. Of course, we're gonna start with the lightest shade and work our way to the darkest. Sorry, I have you guys like super zoomed in. So we're gonna start with Flyby. And Flyby was the shade that I first looked at and I'm like, why would they give us the most basic, boring, matte cream shade? It has a sheen to it. Thank you, Urban Decay. It took me so long to figure out if I was going crazy or if this actually had a sheen. It has a sheen. It reminds me a lot of MAC Nylon, which you guys know is my most favorite brow bone inner corner shade. Gorgeous. Thank you, Urban Decay, for putting a little bit of life in it. It just makes it so much better to me, because I love a brow bone inner corner shade that just has a tiny bit of a sheen to it. Not too much, it's not sparkly, it's just like a tiny bit. And I actually love this color. Next up is the shade Sweet. And this is like my kind of go-to transition shade. This is not gonna show up well on me at all. And I'm doing it right over my watch mark. This shade is so similar to my skin tone. It's that very light, just neutral transition shade, which I love, but for swatching purposes, you're not gonna be able to see it that well. But one thing that I've noticed with these mattes, and you probably can even see it in that guy, they have a little tiny bit of life to them. They're not that flat, boring, like powdery matte. I like the mattes in this palette better than I like the metallics. But I like the metallics a lot. I just love the mattes in here. And I think it's because they do have the tiniest hint. I don't even want to call it a sheen. It's just a little, it's a little life. There's a little something to them, and it just makes them blend so beautifully on the eye and not look flat. Amazing. Next up is Swarm, and this is a gorgeous light, like orangey, yellowy, super warm toned, gorgeous transition-y shade. Like these two I will get so much use out of. These are like my go-to shades. I always gravitate toward shades like this. Just next up is Amber. This is our first metallic of the palette. This is beautiful. So it's like that coppery, gorgeous foiled shade that many of us love. This one has a little bit of sparkle to it, which I really like. I think that's a nice little addition. So when you have it on your lid, it kind of catches the light. It's really, really pretty. And the formula is amazing. It's not crumbly. It's not chunky. It doesn't have that like creamy feel to it in a bad way. Do you know what I mean? It's just a really, really good metallic. The formula is awesome. Next up is Keeper, and this might be my favorite matte in this palette. I love that it's not too light, it's not too dark. I'm gonna swatch it again. It's just so pretty. It's not too orange, it's not too brown. It's everything. I love it. I have it on today, like all over my crease, all over my lower lash line. The mattes in this palette blend like a dream. I don't even remember Urban Decay mattes being this good. I feel like they changed them up a little bit and they're just so good. Like I was not, to be honest, expecting much from this palette. I was like, oh, I've kind of seen these shades before. You know, I like Urban Decay eyeshadows, but this possibly is their best naked palette. And that's saying a lot, because I love me a good naked palette, but this one, like above and beyond what I thought it was going to be. The next shade is Golden, and this is my least favorite shade in the palette. You can even see it's just crumbly and kind of chunky, and it's the only metallic in this palette that has this very like crumbly feel to it. The other ones are all very smooth and they have a thin feel. This one is, I mean, it's gorgeous. Look at that. It's like blinding. It's so pretty. It performs well. It's just one of those that you don't want to dip into too hard because it does have like a very heavy feel to it. Next up is Honey, and this one is like a very yellow gold. It's very, very pretty. I'm not usually like a big yellow gold person, but the formula is awesome. The formula is great. No complaints. Look how pretty these swatches are. Like, are you kidding me? How could you not like that? Beautiful. This palette's amazing, you guys. Okay, next up is Queen. Wait till you see this swatch. This color is so gorgeous. Oh my gosh, I love this color. I haven't worn this on my lid yet. I'm not really like a dark lid person, but I just picture this all over the lid with like really dark eyeliner, super like grungy crease. This would be so sexy for like a night out. Oh my gosh, so pretty. Next up is Hive, and Hive is the coolest shade in the palette, in my opinion. It's a beautiful brown, but it definitely has a cooler feel to it. And I kind of like that they threw one in that is a little bit more cool toned. It just kind of breaks things up. It's beautiful. I mean, nothing bad to say about any of the mattes in this palette. They are so good. Sorry, I'm like kind of slowly sliding. Next up is Drip. and Drip reminds me a lot of Swiss chocolate from MAC. It is so beautiful. It's that like rich, like hot chocolate brown. Oh, so good. And I hope you guys are seeing like with the mattes, do you see how they just have like a little bit of, they're just not flat at all. They are poppin', girl. They are full of life. They are just living their best life. Next up is HBIC, and this is my favorite metallic in the palette. It is just so pretty. It's that like rosy gold, and the formula is so thin and nice and just like smooth. It's so smooth and beautiful. Yeah, it's my favorite. I love it. You'll see her in action. You'll see most of these in action in the eye looks. Last up is Sting, and this is the darkest matte in the palette. It's a dark, rich, kind of like a neutral brown. It's not too warm, it's not cool. It's really pretty. I would use this not really like all over my eye, because you guys know I'm not a big like dark eyeshadow person, but this like on the upper lash line, smoked out, really, really pretty. I mean, how gorgeous. Like, I honestly have nothing bad to say about the formula. The formula is on point. Urban Decay killed it with this one. I don't know. I'm really excited about this palette, and I wasn't that excited before I had it in my hands. I was just like, oh, I've seen those shades before, but after working with them, they are really, really great eyeshadows. So, okay, let's get into the eye looks, and you can see these puppies in action. So let's begin. So I am going to start. So I'm obviously starting with Sweet. I love this color. I think it's so pretty. I don't know if it might be too light for me right now. My face is a lot paler than the rest of my body, but I'm still pretty tan. I'm definitely losing it though, which is very sad. So maybe I'll go in with Swarm. Let's do that. I'm gonna go in with Swarm. I'm gonna use a Smith 232 brush. A little bit of kick up, but I feel like that's normal with eyeshadow. Can you see that? Just a little bit, nothing too bad. Not like Anastasia eyeshadows or anything. Girl. Okay. Applying beautifully. Nothing to report. If you hear Tony banging in the kitchen, he's making dog food. No, my one bang is... What just happened? Do you see this? Ma'am, get back in line. I'm gonna take a little bit more of that same shade. And we're just gonna put this everywhere. Even on my lid. Just make sure we blend it out well. I think that's a really pretty color. I like it. I have no idea what I'm gonna do on my eyes. We are really winging it. I'm just kind of grabbing whatever feels right. But this shade is very nice. It's applying beautifully. No complaints. And this Smith 232 brush, oh, everything. I'm gonna be a little messy since I am gonna be going in and putting foundation on then. I'll be able to clean up at the end. I'm gonna take a brush with no product on it. This is a Morphe Jaclyn Hill JH30 brush. These brushes are so bomb. Can you still buy them? I'm not sure. So I'm just gonna... Oh my god. I thought this was my clean one and this supposed to be my dirty one. Well. Okay, we are gonna start the French over. Okay, we're gonna try this again. It's the next day. I got annoyed yesterday because nothing was going right. It had nothing to do with the palette. It was totally me. Let's begin again, and hopefully today is gonna go better. So the brush that caused the problem yesterday was this one. I have since washed it, and we're actually gonna start with this one. I just almost took my eye out. So I'm going to start with the same shade, Swarm. Okay, I'm gonna run that through my crease. Oh, this brush is so soft. It had intense black eyeshadow all over it. I don't know what I was doing. And I actually did a little bit of makeup today, just like bare minimum, just so I would have something on. Okay, pretty good, pretty good. We're off to a good start. So I'm gonna take basically a MAC 217. This is that L&Y brush that someone sent me this, but you can get them on Amazon and they're super cheap, and this is like the best brush. You guys have seen me use this so many times. I'm gonna go into Drip, but I'm gonna keep it light. Nothing crazy. Just to deepen things up a little bit in the crease. I washed my brushes last night, and I've been washing them with Dawn, just like dish soap, and my brushes have been getting so soft. I don't know what is going on. Oh, ow. But Dawn has been doing me right. Spending like $15, $16 on the little brush solid, I go through it so fast, and I'm just like, this is such a waste of money when I can just use dish soap. But it always has to be Dawn. I'm gonna put a little bit of this on the outer part. Yeah, this color is beautiful. This palette so far I really like. The mattes are amazing, the ones that I've used thus far. Really good. All right, that looks pretty good to start. And I'm gonna take that first brush that I used and just blend the edges. Okay, so now for the lid shade, I am going to grab, because I always use this whenever I use any metallic, any like lid shade. I always use my glitter base. I think I'm gonna take the shade Amber on my lid. Should I use that one or HBIC? I think I'm gonna use Amber. Where is she? Right here. It's just so pretty. So I'm going to take a little bit of my base, just tap that on my lid, and then you want to go in with your lid shade while that's still wet. You don't want to let that dry down. And then I'm just going to take Amber on my finger. It's a little powdery. Woo! She is intense. I'm going to leave the inner part open. We can put another shade in there. That's really pretty. I hate this crease in my eye. It's because of my Botox. When my Botox is like fresh, it's so like pronounced, and then as it wears off, it gets better. I think I'm gonna take a little bit of this yellow gold honey. I'm gonna grab a brush though, and we're gonna put a little bit of honey. See how it goes on with a brush right in here. Oh, that's pretty. I'm at like the weirdest angle right now. fun. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just winging it. So I'm gonna go back into Drip and just kind of blur this line here. I'm gonna just deepen this up in this area a little bit. Kind of pull it up toward my brow. Why am I like cockeyed? Okay, everything's working really well. Very happy, no complaints. All right, let's go in with this Flyby shade and put it on my brow bone, and then I'll match up the other side. So I'm gonna put this on my brow bone. Oh wow, that is strong. Okay, let me grab my brush and just kind of blend that. I'm gonna take that Flyby shade and put it on the inner corner, just see what it looks like. I still can't figure out if it has a little sheen or if it's just me. I think there's a little sheen in it, right? There's something. Am I crazy? I think there's a little something in there. Okay, let's actually do the lower lash line before I match up the other side. So I want to try a different shade, so I'm gonna dip into Hive, which is a little bit more cool toned, and I'm gonna put that on my lower lash line, just so we can see how she is. What is that? Do you see that? You don't belong there. Okay. These mattes are amazing. There's just something very nostalgic about Urban Decay Naked palettes, don't you think? I think the Naked palette was my first ever eyeshadow palette, like ever. I think it was the first eyeshadow palette for a lot of people. I do want to dip into Sting, which is the deepest shade, but I gotta grab a brush. Hold this and just take a little bit of that just to deepen things up a little bit. What are we gonna put on the inner corner? I mean my, what's it called? Waterline. I'm gonna take Double Life from Urban Decay and put this on my waterline. Can you see? I'm gonna take the shade Queen. I don't know why I have visions of this like smoked out on the upper lash line. So that's what I'm gonna do. I don't know if it's really dark enough, if it's gonna show up that much. This white shade in the palette, or this like off-white, whatever, the very first shade, if you kind of mess up and an area gets too dark, I just felt like this spot right in here was a little too dark, so I just took a little bit of it and just kind of went like this, and it like really lightened everything up and fixed exactly what I wanted to fix. I'm gonna dip into Keeper right here with a small little M456, which I love so much, and I'm just going to kind of put it on the very bottom part, like down here, just to kind of add a little warmth. I'm going to take that shade, this yellow gold that's on the very inner part, and I'm gonna put that on the lower part. Actually, let's do a different shade. We'll take Golden, which is the one that I said was kind of crumbly. Look, it is crumbly. And I'm just gonna put that right here. That's pretty. Not my favorite shade in the palette, just because the formula kind of reminds me of like inexpensive metallic eyeshadows when they have like a lot of creaminess to them and they're just like very crumbly and kind of heavy feeling. That's the vibe I'm getting from Golden. I'm gonna pull some of this shade on the inner corner. I just realized that I didn't put that white shade on my inner corner over here. So even though I'm going over it, I still want to put it on because it makes a difference when you go over it. It makes it a little lighter and brighter. So I think that's pretty much going to do it for this eye look. I'm going to put a little bit of mascara on and I'll be back and we'll chit chat. So after doing the first look, I must say I freaking love the mattes in this palette. They are so good. I love the colors. I love the way they performed. They work really well together. They're just beautiful, amazing mattes, and I'm thrilled with them. Okay, let's move on to look number 2. So I'm gonna start out with Sweet and see how this guy shows up on me. And I'm using that same Jaclyn Hill Morphe JH30 brush. I love this brush when it doesn't have black eyeshadow all over it. Sorry my bangs are like in the way, but oh my god, I need to prime my lids. Who am I? Oh my goodness gracious. There's a good amount of kick up with these eyeshadows. Like I keep having to blow off the palette. That's something I don't really remember with Urban Decay, with their eyeshadows. I don't know that I've really ever had that issue before. I mean, it's not even really an issue. To some people it is. To me, I mean, I'm not a fan of Anastasia eyeshadows. And part of the reason is the insane amount of kick up, but I don't know. There's just something about their eyeshadows that I don't love. I do like the Modern Renaissance palette, but other than that, I just haven't been like impressed with Anastasia eyeshadows. My bangs look insane. Hey, this shade is nice. I was afraid it wasn't going to show up, but it is. If you can see through my bangs. That's pretty good. I like that color. And I can be as messy as I want because I don't have foundation on. Next, I'm going to take a Morphe M433 and I'm going to go into Keeper. Just a little bit of this in the crease. Yep, kick up. I'm just going to run this through my entire crease. Kind of pull it down a little bit. See, they blend out really well. So on my lid, I'm not going to use the base because I want you guys to see how the metallics apply without a base, which I would never apply metallics without a base, but just saying. So I'm going to use HBIC, this guy right here. It's very pretty. And we'll see how she applies. I know my nail polish is chipped. Don't judge me. It just happened today when I was opening a package on Snapchat. So that's how it applies on its own. Pretty good. Like for me, for day to day, that's perfect because I don't want anything to like blinged out. But we're gonna amp it up. I'm gonna grab my base now that you guys saw how it applies without a base. Put a little bit down. All over the lid. And I'm gonna go back into that same shade. And we're gonna pump it up. Oh, I really like this color. That is really pretty. I am gonna take a little bit of Hive, which is that more cool toned shade right there. Take a little bit of that just in here, just to deepen this area up a little bit. I'm gonna grab this Morphe M124 brush, and I'm gonna grab some Fix Plus, spray my brush, shake her off, and I'm gonna dip into Honey. Take a little bit of that, because I really want this to pop in the middle. And I'm gonna put a little bit of that right in the center. And pull it up and almost into my crease a little bit. Oh my god, it's not centered. Good job, Nicole. Pull it out a little bit. Fun. I always feel like this looks so good on other people, and then when I do it, I'm like, that looks kind of weird. Once we're all done with everything, it'll be good. Now I'm gonna take a Morphe E29 brush, just a little angled brush, and I'm going into the deepest shade, Sting. It's just a dark matte brown. And I'm just gonna line my upper lash line and maybe smoke it out a little, which is what I wanted to do in the first look. And then we kind of got sidetracked. Well, that shade wasn't working too well, but I think it was just the shade is the one that I was using. It just wasn't enough of a contrast. So I'm gonna do it with a matte. It usually works better with a matte anyway. Smoke it out a little bit. Okay, so I threw just a little bit of makeup on. I still have to do mascara, but we're gonna do the lower lash line first. So I'm taking my little blending brush, Morphe M433, and I'm going back into Keeper, which was that like mustardy. I really like this color. We're gonna run that on the lower lash line. Oh, hi, sorry. And I'm smoking that out pretty far for me. I'm going to use a Morphe Jaclyn Hill JH42. This is another really good little brush. Flyby, again on my brow bone, not like you can see it, because my bangs is in the way. I'm just going to put it right in there. Sometimes I take it like the whole way, and sometimes I just put it like on the arch. I barely even did my brows. It took me, honestly, 20 seconds. Because you can't see them, so it's pointless to even really do them. On my inner corner, and then I'm gonna put something on top of it like we did with the first look. Whoa! Wow. I didn't expect it to be that strong. I start talking and I don't realize I'm like continuously dipping into the shadow. I'm gonna take HBIC. Let's see what that one, that's the shade I used on my lid. Let's see what she looks like layered over top of this. Oh yeah, like that. It just adds a little pop to it. Maybe a little bit more. This Flyby shade I love. Like, I would grab the palette just to use that shade. Oh my goodness, I love this look. It's very simple, it's very me. Okay, so this is the next look. I really like this look because it's more natural, but it's still fun. There's still a little metallic going on. I just like the more natural lower lash line. I love that I wore my L'Oreal Fresh Wear foundation because it's my favorite. So, final thoughts. I really thought that I was just going to be like, you know what, it's good. This is really good. And there's something nostalgic about Urban Decay Naked palettes. And I know, like I've said, we all have seen these eyeshadows before, but the quality is on point. The metallics are amazing. The mattes are really amazing. And I love this. And that dang flyby shade, the one that I thought was going to be totally like, what's the word that I want? It was going to be like non-existent to me. Like, I don't even care about you. You could just leave and I wouldn't even care. I love it. I'm so happy with it. I really have no complaints about this palette other than the shade Golden being a little bit crumbly. But I mean, that's honestly the worst thing that I could say about this palette. Packaging's not my favorite, but the quality is totally 1000% there. Okay, I put white on my waterline. Ow. So I used All Around White. It's one of the Makeup Forever Artist pencils. I love these. These are really good. Artist Color Pencil. Everything was great. I love it. It's great. It's great. If you were considering it, go buy it. Just go buy it. I'll wait. Okay, pause the video. I'll be here when you get back. So that is going to do it for me. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know if you get the palette. Do you love it? Do you hate it? I don't think you could hate it, really. Like, what's to hate? You hate it? You're lying. Anyway, I love you guys so much. I will see you all next time. Bye.
I probably will push them to the side. Okay, part. Wow. Let me turn down the lights so I can hold you in the darkness. Oh, baby, let's make love tonight. Yeah, dick. Ooh. I mean, just call me Nikki Toots. Bitch, don't even joke, because that is actually embarrassing for you. I wanna sex you up, TikTok, you don't stop. She said boys like a little more booty to hold at night. No, I won't be no stick finger, dun, 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 dun. Do you know what I mean? 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 Move around, because you know, move around. Oh my god, my bangs look amazing. Is it about to rain? Oh my goodness. Sometimes I'm so lazy, I don't even feel like putting a lip balm in. But my lips are dry, so I have to, and I'm just like, oh, I can't be bothered. Well, this is some you know what? Poop. So, yeah, I love you guys. Thank you so much for watching.